What's up, guys? We are here at Phorm headquarters. Not really supposed to be by the car, but we're full sending it anyway. We have an awesome human being here today, guys. Just inspiration, blessing, motivating. Man, I don't want to give too much of it away, but he has done some incredible things that is never been done before, and he's got a smile on his face. Guys, I want to introduce y'all to Louis.
What's going on, guys? Louis Chaix. Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, this is the XV Pod, parking lot in the pod edition, but we're actually not technically in a parking lot, but since we're with the Lambo, it's considered a parking lot pod. But yeah, let me share y'all just a couple things about Louis. Louis, not only is a professional hockey player, he has traveled from California to New York on roller skates.
That's right. Venice Beach Skate Park, Times Square, New York City.
Unreal, brother.
Thank
One
you,
of one
appreciate
human
that.
beings, right? That dedication, that drive, that intensity is insane. But my bigger question, bro, is like, why?
Survivor's guilt. When I was 6 years old, I survived a really rare skin disease. And, near-death experience. Second-degree burns all over my body. Organs were burning. I wasn't supposed to make it out.
What did you look like? Like, what was your body looking like?
Picture having blisters all over your body that end up popping, and then your skin's just shedding. So I had no more skin, and then my organs, my lungs, everything was burning. I was burning on the inside out while being alive. Just like that. One day, boom, started.
Unbelievable, dude. And like, how long was that journey?
Of being sick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was probably in the hospital for 3 months, and then my recovery took about 2 years.
Wow.
Couldn't be fully exposed in the sun for like 3 years. I could go outside, but I had to be fully covered.
And then with that, like, it's not necessarily a cure for that, I think is what you told me too, right?
Yeah, they're finding now new things that, it's moving in the right direction, but still no cure. It's more like pain management and then pure luck, really.
Dude, just mind blown, right? And you get to meet Louis, guys, and he's blessed he's alive today. He gives and he gives and he gives to everybody around him. Truly an impactful person, man. I want to dive into a couple things, man. Like, where you are now, how old are you?
I'm 26.
26, man. And like, do you feel like you're really living, or do you feel like you've existed in your life?
Man, that's a good one. I know I have existed, but that would be saying that if I was to tell you right now I've existed, that means there was an end to it and I was done. Whereas like if I say I'm living, I'm just getting started, and that's really what I think is like, have I left an impact? Probably, but this is just the beginning, that's like, yeah,
chapter
what we do,
one, right?
Chapter 1, page 1 maybe even.
And then, dude, as you get older, man, you fell in love with hockey. Like, how did that kind of play a part, and like, how did you become successful in hockey?
I believe hockey saved my life, actually, because when I was sick, I had a near-death experience, and I promised my mom and myself that one day I'd play hockey in North America. And that kind of distracted me from what was happening to me and gave me something to look forward to. And ultimately, moved to the U.S. to be in a better infrastructure, better programs, and really just find ways to get better every day in the best environment possible. And I just never took no for an answer, and that's what really helped me.
Dude, I love it, man. And then obviously y'all don't know that he's from France. So like, coming from France, bro, how different was the culture compared to the U.S.?
It's tough out here, like when you're a foreigner in the sports world, people see you as a threat because they're like, oh, you're coming to take my spot. When I was just coming to do my thing,
Yeah.
And but it's cool. It's a blessing because it made my path that much harder, but at the same time, I knew I wanted it more than anybody else because I was willing to do whatever it took. Like leaving your family when you're 14 on your own to move across the world, like you gotta. But I saw it as an opportunity, and I was like, if I can run with it, I'm just gonna go 100%. And
dude, when it comes to risk and reward, man, like, I have a different brain type where, man, I love the risk.
The risk is...
Some people strive in it, some people fail in it, right? Like, how do you feel like your risk from traveling at age 14 to doing the certain things? Was it, you had nothing, you were in a position where you were just like, I'm moving forward. There's no going back. Like, how did that feel like?
So, to me, when you get an opportunity, you have to stop seeing it as a risk because that's assuming you're going to fail. And so for me, Was it scary? Of course. Was it challenging? Yes. But I just knew what I wanted, and it didn't matter how I was going to make it happen. I just knew like I had to go. I'm like, you're presented with this opportunity just to be alive, you know, to have a supporting family that's willing to take me and help me get there. And for that reason, I was like, you know what? Like, I know what it feels like to die. I want to live, because when you're on your deathbed and you're 6 years old and you're like, man, I wish I played with my dog more. I wish I told my parents I love them more often. It's a pretty shitty feeling.
Yeah,
and I promised myself to never feel that again. And I think that's when a door opens for me, that's where I run and I go for it. And I just don't look back. I believe in myself and find a way to make it happen, bro.
I mean, between living and dying, man, like when you see death that close, you really get to live after that, man. You know, and it's a different space, it's a different feeling, man. And when you look at drivers and successful people, they have that fear, man, of I'm not going to waste my time, because the price of regret is very expensive.
Oh, I don't want to pay that price.
Right, and a lot of people, they pay that price when they die, man. It's like, man, I should have done this. I should have connected with this person.
Yeah.
You know, like living in fear in that kind of perspective is more so existing. You know, it's not, you're not really living if you get in that position. So I think it's pretty cool, bro, that you know, your pain is your purpose, that you got to develop that at 6 years old and go, I'm going to take the chance. I'm going to take the risk. You know what I mean? It's like, now moving forward, what's the big goal now for Louis, man? Like, what is the next goal?
I wish there was only one. It'd be easier to answer that question, but no, honestly, I just want to make an impact and show people that anything is possible. And I do believe that, you know, like you can turn your ideas, your dreams into your reality, but you have to believe in it first, because if you're not...
Do you think it's hard to believe when you didn't have people around you believe in you?
Absolutely.
What makes you believe that you're going to do it? Because some people, here's the thing, is like a lot of people are logical, right? They're very aware. For me, I'm not very logical. I'm actually very irrational. You know what I mean? Like my ideas are crazy.
Yeah, I
right?
feel that.
But then you look around in Phorm and you're like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Right? It's crazy till it works.
Yeah.
So like when it comes to belief, man, how did you get involved with like finally believing yourself, opening your own door, building your own door? Did you have people along that believed in you, or you just didn't give a shit?
I did have some people that believed in me from the start. I had a lot of people that did not believe that. You know, some of my teammates, some of my closest friends were like, dude, you told us your idea of skating across the country, and we were like, yeah, you'll make it out a state maybe or two, but you won't make it past. And then we saw how fast you were going, and we were like, oh, he's actually doing it. And for me, it was more so about, actually, I work really well with criticism. So when people tell me I can't do something, that's what I fuel off of. Like for me, positive feedback's always great, and people supporting me, I'm very thankful for that. But that's not what gets me out of bed in the morning. Like a little tap on the back's not what drives me.
Dude, I study this. So I was pushed through fear, not discipline. I wasn't told I was good enough. I wasn't told that I could do anything. That drove me, and in a way that's super toxic, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant would fake up stories in their head to go beat somebody.
Yeah.
It's not normal.
No.
It's not healthy.
But,
right? And it's like, what if we just stick to discipline over fear? How much different would it be with positive reinforcement, right? Like, I look at it in two ways, man. How my life would have been different if I did have positive reinforcement. To me,
but
I think I would have been on top of the mountain a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because I did have everybody tell me that I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. And yeah, I pushed my limit just to prove them wrong. But then am I living for me, or am I living for them?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think, I wouldn't change anything. Like, I wouldn't change my disease. I wouldn't change all the criticism I've gotten, the people telling me no, shutting these doors for me, because it makes the story so much better. And like, actually, something I did on my journey, every single person that didn't believe in me or said something that was impactful in a negative way for me, I cropped their faces and put them on my iPad on Procreate. I put their faces and made a poster with, and then every day when I was training, or like even on the RV, I would walk out my room and that poster would be right there, and I would look at it and be like, let's go.
They told me I couldn't do it.
Yeah, and so, but I let that be my drive, but I don't hyper focus on it and give it the value that it should get.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's that fine line. But to go back to your point, I think we would probably been on top of the mountain much earlier, but I wouldn't want to trade for where I'm at now, because it's like I'm that much stronger, I'm that much better. I can treat people even better because I know,
Right.
you know, like what impacted me and what was wrong. And yeah, dude, I mean, even for you, it built
Mine,
you,
man,
it built your character, you know?
The thing I regret in my life, because like when you have a story where you almost died when you were 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong, but you probably didn't hesitate much at that point either. Bro, I hesitated.
Yeah.
You see me now as a fucking sprinter, right?
Yeah.
Bro, I hesitated for years on end
Mm-hmm.
because I thought I wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Thought
That's
I wasn't good
understandable,
enough because I had people telling me I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So like I look at years of my life where I'm like, dude, what if I never bought into that? What if I was still optimistic? What if I did believe in myself 6 years ago?
Yeah.
Like how much different my life would be in business, relationship, friendships. Because hesitating, man, to me is dying. Like
Yeah, I agree.
you're not guaranteed tomorrow, right? Everybody knows that. It's cliche, right?
It's cliche, but I mean,
It's your time is non-refundable, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now that you have like your life and moving in the direction you want it to do, man, like where do you appreciate the most time? Like what do you spend your time on?
I spend a lot of time on like details in my life. I'm always looking for how can I understand myself better? How can I understand the world around me better? And how can I impact people around me and like help them become and have that feeling of like I can accomplish what I want? Because like for me, to have this idea of skating across the country or becoming a professional hockey player, to say you're going to do something and want to do something and actually accomplish it, like that journey of getting there to me is like living,
Right.
you know? And so many people are missing out on that. And for me, it'd be like, if I can just help one person with their mindset and be like, okay, well, this guy was just like me, is just like
Right.
me. And he turned what seemed impossible into possible, well, I win. And so that's why I try to focus on through my platforms and who I am as a person,
Right.
really just being encouraging, being a good teammate, being a good brother, a good son, good friend.
Right.
I'm trying to have a great hockey career and also not rely on the things I've accomplished and just cruise.
Right.
I want to use that as a stepping stone for that next thing. And then on my journey, ask myself a question, and I kind of want to know what you think about that, is will it ever be enough?
Dude, I think that's the biggest question. People get to their deathbed and they're like, I chased and chased and chased, right? And working with so many people and successful businesses and influencers and all the fame and the following and everything that we've been around, the carrot doesn't taste as good as you think it does. Like I've been on both sides of the fence, right? You want to be famous, you want to have impact, you want to have all these things, but you have to sacrifice everything for it.
Yeah.
You have to sacrifice your family, your relationships, your friends, your time, your money in order to accomplish a dream, and people think you're crazy, right? Like you used the word impossible earlier. Have you ever spelled out impossible?
IMPOS.
I'm possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm possible. So it's creating my big quote I live by, man, is beyond all odds.
I love that.
Like
Yeah.
I live off that. Like, go ahead. All this shit in your life has been fucked up. You didn't have the great parents. You didn't have this. You had an alcoholic problem. All these things that people use excuses for. Sweet, beyond all odds. It makes your story
it makes
sweeter,
it that
right?
much
Like
better,
your story of being able to say, "Hey, I died," you
literally
legit died.
Yeah.
And now you're alive and you're living the most full life, right? And so, I know we talked about this last night. Like, dude, if I died tomorrow, I'm giving myself a pat on the back, dude.
Like, hell yeah, bro.
Because I did what like I've been doing the things that I've actually have envisioned in my mind for so long. Like, dream to reality has been real for me, dude. Like when we built the studio and you start at the ground with just dirt and grass, and then you stand in the concrete and you're looking up at the ceiling and you see the windows, you see the paint, and you see the hard work of 8 years finally happen of a dream that I had 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it's surreal. So like for me, man, the biggest thing I try to look forward to is identifying my gifts, calculating my mission, and making sure they align with my fulfillment. And that's the biggest thing I work with people, man, is like, let me ask you a question. Do you actually know what your gift is?
My resiliency, yeah. Like the way I'm able to just turn all the shit, good or bad, that happens to me into something more.
So what's another word for that? Because resilient could also be a downfall, bro. It could be Achilles heel. Because you could hyper-focus on one thing Example, like, hey man, the key doesn't fit in the lock, but I'm going to try to keep jamming the key in the door.
Yeah.
So like, some people have that and it ends up crashing themselves, right? What I think would be a better word, just knowing you for now for like 2 weeks, but like optimistic
Yeah.
is one of your superheroes, superhero powers, bro. Is like, not only are you relentless, yes, but you know where to be relentless in the correct directions. Hey, I need to pivot. I need to learn how to pivot correctly. I need to make sure that it's either natural or is this a restriction, right? What's happening for me?
Yeah.
You know, like I've seen that from you. The way you handle yourself, the way you communicate with people. Your inner circle, bro, is going to brag for you 100 times more than the internet will.
Yeah. And that's
you know?
what's important for me, really. You know, like just knowing that I can leave a mark, but a positive one, or like, you know, somebody's going through
legacy,
a
right?
Or, yeah.
So like back to gift, right? I want to go back to that real quick because like what my gift is and the craziest thing, bro, you know who told me my gift?
If I could guess your gift?
No, do you know who told me mine?
Oh.
It was last year. The guy that's on air in here.
Really?
Dude, when I met Andy, dude, and Andy was my first podcast. So like when I met Andy, bro, I mean, it was surreal, bro. Like it's the guy that I've looked up to in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
Dude, we started getting into some deeper conversation, and I'll never forget it. He's like, I want to be fucking Nike. And we were all in a circle, and he's like, does anybody know how to be Nike? And I said, build a stadium. And dude, he looked at me, he's like, how'd you know that I was thinking that? And I was like, that's how my brain works. Like I stretch out the concepts and ideas. And so we started talking some more, and I started, you know, I wanted better answers, so I asked better questions. And that's the most important advice I give anybody, right? And so I kept asking Andy these like intriguing questions that most people probably don't ask Andy. And Andy stopped me, he goes, hey man, you have a gift. And he poked me, and I'm like, I mean, what do you mean? He's like, dude, you have a gift of being able to pull things out of people that they don't know themselves. And bro, like,
true. I mean, I feel it, yeah.
But you got to think, man, like I've never believed that. And when somebody that I've looked up to my whole life said, hey man, this is your gift, and handed it to me on a plate, bro, I got to lean into my gift.
Yeah,
and the coolest part about it from a year ago to now is like, I've developed this, you know, this concept of helping people identify their identity. And when I go back to gift and fulfillment align. And if you really identify your gift and you get to use it every day, bro, I have so much fulfillment every single day because I get to use what I'm great at every single day.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking you like what your gift is, because you do want to create legacy, you do want to create impact, but what gift are you using to calculate each one of those things? So what do you think your real gift is? With people, not necessarily your skills and how hard you work, because there's a lot of people that have that.
I'm able to really understand people in their situation. Like, how can I explain this? I'm a very compassionate person, so like
Empathy.
Yeah, I think that's something I'm really good at. But at some point, like, I try to steer people in the right direction, because it's like, okay, like all this shit can happen to you, but it doesn't define you. What defines you is how you're going to rise after where you go through, right?
And you've proved that though.
Yeah.
With action.
And so, and that's I think that's my thing, is like, just, I would almost look for shit to go wrong in my life. Like that's to the point where I got, even on my journey, I was like, dude, like it's raining good, because I know that this too shall pass. This is just temporary.
This is just a push.
This hill is just, it sucks, but what's on the other side of that? It could be anything. And so I realized that my strength in that moment was able to accept and embrace where I was at so that I could move forward. And I do believe it's my greatest strength, is to be able to embrace where I'm at, not being content and like settling, but embracing the good, the bad, the ugly, so that I can propel forward. Because if you can't accept where you're at, how do you expect taking the next step, you know? Like, you're gonna run in every direction.
Well, dude, I've been around you for a minute. Like, what I see a lot, and like a gift that I see that you have, is like space. You develop space. I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but like you let people, one, have space to communicate without feeling judged, by the way.
Yeah.
Because you've gone through a lot of judgment.
So much.
So your gift of being able to relate with people is providing a safe space for them, for them to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
You to, you know, you can be empathetic with them. I don't know if it's empathetic or empathy, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
you give people a chance to have hope. You give them a chance to dream. You give people a chance to, I'm possible, and their own version of their own story.
Absolutely.
Your story has been written, and it's still being written, but one page out of that is helping somebody to develop their first page. That's the gift you get to share every day. So I think that's pretty fucking cool, bro.
Yeah.
It's like being able to use that story every day, letting people know that beyond all odds, it's possible.
And that drives me, dude. Like I'll look at things and I'm like, I'm almost looking for people to tell me I can't do something because I obsess with it. I know I can, and I know like, and you know what? Even if I failed, I'm gonna explore so many new paths that I probably would have never encountered.
When you fail, right? Quotes.
Yeah.
Fail, you learn.
Oh my God.
The problem is the judgment that comes from failing is people that regret that they didn't try it themselves.
And I feel like if you fail and you get judged and you get affected by that, then were you really aligned with what you were doing? Because it's like, for me with my journey, it never crossed my mind that I could possibly fail. But in the event that it happened, I was like, you know what, dude? Like, I was vulnerable enough to try something greater than, I could have probably ever thought about. So it's like, so be it. And I detached from that completely, and it never crossed my mind, not once.
Well, that's the results you've had from trying, right? Like, we live off our quote, don't let your comfort zone kill you. Get comfortable with getting uncomfortable, right? You'll see yourself elevate, right? And I always tell people to innovate, you got to elevate, right? You gotta take those chances. You got to take those risks in order to become better, learn better. Like, people look at breakups or something like a bad thing. Why not look at it as a good thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Be like, wait a minute, this is going to break me down to refine me and define me.
Yeah.
All these chapters are for a reason, but it's hard to see it inside the season.
The moment, yeah.
Like, the reason to season, bro, it's a thing I talk about, but like, all these things that keep happening are developing, you to become the best person as long as you don't have the victim mindset. Right? And being optimistic, being positive, like all those things. So, one thing I want to ask you before we kind of jump into this or whatever we talk about next is, can you name 3 things that bring you happiness that aren't a product or a person?
They're not a product or a person. I would say, like, just movement, like being able to...
Okay, so we got number 1,
moving around, being active. That brings me a lot of happiness. I would say conversations, like
Okay.
So I'm really passionate about deeper conversations, like learning. Being real, yeah. Like being... Third one would be something that brings me happiness.
I already know your third one.
Dude, I can't put a word on it.
Accomplishing something.
Accomplishment, absolutely. That's actually what I was trying to word, but...
You love to be able to accomplish something,
dude,
right?
And being a part of something, like belonging to like a journey, a mission, a goal. It's like building an identity that really resumes who I am and like what I strive to become and put out in the world. And it's like, if I could help one person, then like...
One person can help a million person, right? Because it's the pyramid scheme in a way, right? And the reason I ask that question, man, is just because we work with so many people that can't answer that question.
Yeah.
And that blows my mind, dude. We have 8 billion people in the world. 8 billion people wake up in the morning and they don't know what makes them happy, bro. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, if you do those 3 things that you just told me, you're pretty set up to have a pretty successful day.
Yeah.
Like, why not do more of the shit that makes you happy? It's that simple, bro.
People are like, I can't. I'm like, why?
Well, you gotta be vulnerable. You gotta be open. You're scared of being judged. You're scared of looking like a failure or a loser because you're not happy, right? But what is happiness? It's a form of many things. It's an emotion, right? So I took a deep dive, man, on what happiness is because I asked people if they can be happy and they can't answer the question, right? And I'm like, well, can you be smart? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, how do you become smart? I learn. Why don't you learn how to be happy? And then they're like, oh, just like your reaction. But it's like, why don't you learn what makes you happy? Why don't you learn what you enjoy doing? Why don't you learn, hey, the boss I'm around doesn't actually bring me joy. It's a paycheck. I understand that. But maybe go somewhere cheaper where you actually enjoy working every day.
And you got to break it down. That's something I learned with my journeys. Everybody has a story. People talk to talk, but they don't talk to listen. It goes back to asking the right questions, like you were sharing. And then it's also like, just breaking down your goals. Like, I couldn't expect to skate across America from, just like that over 2 days. I had to build that belief in my mind. Like, my journey, I did it in my head 1,000 times, right, over and over and over again, so that when I hit day one and I started skating, I knew, because I studied it, I understood it, I broke it down to the worst possible outcome, which was dying. I had to be okay with dying doing this. And the second I removed that fear, I became free.
Right.
And anything became possible. I actually did a trick. I tricked my brain because I was skating on the highway with traffic coming behind me, because skating in front of it was just too much.
You're supposed to do it that way, by the way.
You're supposed to. But I was like, seeing a car coming your way at 80 miles an hour, it's just weird, even if you're in the right spot. And so I was thinking there's a lot of traffic and semis just flying right by me. And I was like, you know what, dude, the good news is if you get hit, it's going to be from behind. You won't see it happen, and I'll be done like that. And then I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. And I instantly, dude, removed all fear. And then I became so accustomed to it that I don't even realize half the danger I put myself through. But it was great because it allowed me to move forward. And sometimes you gotta, if you're
face the fear, bro.
If you're in it, you gotta face it, and you gotta embrace that fear and just be okay with the consequences. And I believe that if you're truly aligned with what you're doing, the reward is gonna be there. And it's just, it goes back to embracing where you're at and who you are, and most importantly, why you're doing it.
Well, dude, I'm not an organized person, dude. I'm really not. But the thing that I did get organized was my life. Right? What is my life? What do I want it to be?
Mm-hmm.
And I think about anxiety, for instance. Everybody in today's society has anxiety. Why? Comparison, not good enough, no belief, the unknown.
Another thing I heard on anxiety here from Sal was you're only anxious because you're not doing the things you know you're supposed to be doing.
Right, the unknown.
Yeah.
Right, and so what I wanted to, really dive into was like the unknown of society is the reason we have anxiety, the reason that we judge people and all these things. Because, dude, if you woke up on the day that you were gonna skate and didn't know which highway to take, bro, your anxiety would be skyrocket. Right? But then if you break it down to life, well, what if I wake up tomorrow with a plan of what I need to be doing, why I need to be doing it, and the people that I'm going to be doing it with, and you write out a plan and a strategy of what you actually want to do with your life, bro, you get to wake up with no anxiety. Like, dude, my life right now,
you're taking control.
I don't have anxiety because I'm like, I have no gray in my life.
Yeah.
I know exactly what I need to be doing, when I need to be doing it, and the connections I need to be around to do it. So it's like the scarcity mindset of society of not knowing what they're going to do. That would be the first thing, man, that I think people should try to do, is analyzing their life of what they enjoy and what they don't enjoy, and then figuring out what they want to do to where they get to wake up the next day and skate.
And another thing too for this is like people wait to have all the answers to get started. Dude,
you find the answers out when you do.
You have to just start and figure it out along the way, because you're going to have to learn regardless.
Well, I would say that yes and no. So, dude, I study the shit out of brain types. I'm obsessed with it, right? You have a risk-taker mindset. You are a visionary, okay? Now, you have to have a visionary. It's like a triangle. So you have to have the visionary. You have to have the calculated risk-taker. Then you have the back-end finance numbers guy. So that's how a big business operates. And if you look at Phorm, right? Andy is the vision. Sal's the operations calculated risk-taker. And then the other guy, which I don't know his name, he's the back-end guy that runs all kind of crazy shit. Nobody knows who he is, right?
Yeah.
Being able to use those three people is awesome. Me and you are the kind of people like, hey, we're going to jump off the totem pole and learn how to fly on the way down. Doesn't always work. It truly doesn't always work, right? Like, there's risk to that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why having a calculated risk taker, like Chris, my best friend, my partner and everything, I sell the dream and Chris processes it.
Yeah.
Because dude, I would just be a chicken with a head cut off if I didn't have a systems person behind me helping me figure that out. So it's your brain type of just going out there and skating. You were able to do that, but you also had a whole team with you that helped you calculate how many miles you need to go, how much food you need to take, you know, helping you coordinate your chaos brain.
Yeah.
Your brain runs in chaos.
It was to an extent, because when I started this, it was just me, just like I'm sure it was for you. Until I was lucky enough to build that team slowly but surely, and then on our journey, nobody knew what to do. I didn't know, my team didn't know, because how the fuck do you prepare for that? Each day, we found out really quick, like, what we had envisioned for one day on the road was
completely
so
wrong.
different than what it actually was like. We didn't know how much food I was gonna go through. We didn't realize I was gonna eat fast food the whole way. Like,
Holy
we
shit.
really didn't. Because, you know, I was on my meal plan, for example, for like, 8 days, and then we're like, this is not working. So then I was
Just need
crushing
calories, bro. Taco Bell.
milkshakes, hot dogs, McDonald's, Taco Bell. It was great. All I wanted when I got to New York, all I wanted was fucking salad, bro. And so, but yeah, at the same time, it's like we had to like lean into not knowing and accept it and not beat ourselves down. And although I have that crazy chicken head, like, you know, running around mentality, like, I also at times had to be the one with the head on my shoulders and be like, guys, like, we're not moving in the right direction.
That's
right
leadership, though.
It's I agree.
So
it's different.
visionaries have a leadership skill.
Okay.
So, you know, very driven mind of like how things need to operate. Dude,
Mm-hmm.
Amazon. Do you know much about Amazon?
I mean, I know Amazon, obviously, but
Okay.
like
What's his name again that owns it?
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos wrote a structured plan for Amazon. He knew he wasn't going to profit till his 10th year.
That's wild.
He was on a journey for 9 years of operations and knew that he was going to profit on his 10th year of his business, bro. So you talk about chaos, you talk about leadership, you talk about operations.
And vision.
And vision. This guy has it all, right? Like,
Dude.
and then to let people buy into this product through the unknown. He didn't have an unknown, bro. He had a known of 10 years I'm going to profit. And dude, he hit his mark.
That's wild.
Like, people don't understand that.
But that makes the story that much better.
Is that not
bro.
insane?
Like, it's like, that's the type of things I live for.
So
bro.
like when you skate and you have these teams and you have leadership, like leadership is not something that you get to give yourself a title.
Mm-hmm.
You
No.
take the responsibility,
Yeah.
you take the accountability,
Ownership, yeah.
the wins or losses, and then someone calls you the leader.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy that I'm leading because his decision, his optimistic brain, everything that he has, I'm going to be attracted to that person
Mm-hmm.
because something about him, you know, and you have that. You have that driven mind. And so it's figuring out how to operate at the best with the right people around you as an asset for you to continue to do great things. Because your brain is not a small mind. It's a big mind. So quit putting yourself in a small situation.
And that's something I had to realize is that on my team, there's no way I could have ever asked them to do something I was not willing to do. So there was mornings where after skating 150 miles the day before, I'd wake up and my team was tired. Well, you roll up your sleeves and make breakfast because they would do it for you too. And the second you pour into people and show them that, hey, I'm in this shit with you. You believe in me, but I believe in you and I'm here to take care of you, despite of my circumstances and yours. That was a big thing I learned is like the second, because at first we really wanted to do well, but we didn't know how.
Right.
So there was doubt, there was, uncertainty. But the second I felt like my team believed I could skate a lot every day, and then the second, I believed that the way we were operating was probably actually the right way, even though that's the way I had pictured.
Right.
We all lifted each other up, and then like it just blew up. I originally thought it was going to take me 80 days to skate across the
45.
45 days, 10 hours,
Crazy.
44 seconds.
Some Forrest Gump shit, son.
That's right, Forrest Gump on
Felt
wheels,
like
baby.
skating, you know? Felt like running. Felt like skating.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, that's insane. Man, before we close this up, I have a question I ask everybody. What's one piece of advice that you feel like anybody that's listening to this channel would really help them tomorrow?
This quote changed my life from a very young age, and it's always stuck with me, and I find I always come back to it. And it's from the poem Invictus from William Ernest Henley, and it ends with, "I am the master of my fate, I'm the captain of my soul." The second you realize that you're the writer of your own story and that it's up to you, you open yourself with, you're allowing everything to come your way, and you're releasing like everything that's holding you back. I'm the master of my fate, I'm the captain of my soul.
I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna have to get that tattooed on me. Do you have it tattooed somewhere?
I'm trying to. So I saw fun fact, I saw your spine tattoo. And the first thought I had was like, dude, I love the layout of this. I would love to get my quote, like the one I just said, on there. And I was like, dude, but I would hate for him to think I just took his idea, But like,
no, dude,
I've always waited for a spot to get it. And I saw that when we went on that run, which was a total coincidence because I was just sitting over there.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way I should run this 5K right now. I'm hurt. And I'm like, I'm not missing out. Like, these guys get it. I get what they're doing. I'm fucking going. And, dude,
the team's
one
here.
of the highlights of my week, bro.
No, dude, same, man. You've been a pleasure, bro. You've been a blessing. It's cool to watch you operate and be the outsider. Looking at you doing all the stuff inside, man. It's cool because a lot of people in my life, it's not really accurate on who I am and what I am. It's always just been a question.
Mm-hmm.
When I watch you, bro, I think everybody says the same thing about you, right? And everybody's gonna say you're kind, you're appreciative, and you're very understanding, and there's not really much question mark there. So I think that's pretty cool to be outside looking in, seeing how you operate with people. And dude, I'm excited to see you do all the crazy shit you do, man. Like,
I appreciate that. But also, like, what's cool about this is I connected with you and Chris over a little conversation, and then to watch that develop into the conversations that we had. I know I can't have conversations like this with everyone.
Right. You can. You just got to find them. That's my goal.
You can, but at the same time, people think you're crazy. People don't really understand. And to be able to sit across somebody that understands, what you have to go through, like why you're doing those things, that live the life that like you strive to do and to be the change and not just talk about it, but actually act on it and put your foot down. I can confidently say I'm walking out of this and our conversation's a better person and more understood. Like, you helped me sort out these thoughts last night. Like, I got home and I was like, holy shit,
Dude, that's the pleasure, man. Is like, I can't say that I'm, a chapter above you by any means. The goal, dude, is that I have people above me that help me with stuff.
Well, yeah, and you have to surround yourself with people that, dude, do I want to operate at your level at some point? Absolutely. And
who says you're not, right? It's more so just, dude, a big quote I'm going to leave with you. Don't take advice from somebody you wouldn't trade lives with.
Exactly.
And that's where I've really shifted into people, because if you're not happy, man, I don't really take much advice from people.
Yeah.
And I can spot it a mile away, bro. Like, a lot of people put on fronts and carry all this blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, I see straight through it, because I've worked with so many people. I've had these interesting conversations. I have data, bro, of like so many people. It's so easy for me to understand the genuine people. And it's also very easy for me to see kindness versus nice.
Yeah.
Right?
It's very different.
And, my life, I have been designed to give, bro. Like, I want to give. But you have to consider givers have a limit and takers don't. So for me, my time is valuable, my energy is valuable. I have to identify very quickly where I need to align my giving energy to, because if I do that, it's going to unfold 10x, because those people are going to scale a community, and we're all going to go from mountains to fucking Everest, bro. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
And that's been the goal, man, is just building your inner circle. And like, that's my advice, is like, you never know who you're going to communicate with. You never know if they're a nice or whatnot person, right? Like, I met a lot of people this weekend that look super intimidating that would give you the shirt off your back.
Yeah.
Right?
All the way around too.
And it's just like saying hello, and like the easiest way to connect with someone is a compliment. Like, it's so easy to be kind, and it opens up a whole door where you might have a conversation. Like even the guy we met a minute ago.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I probably saw him 3 or 4 times, and then I went up to him.
Yeah.
Hey, man, how's it going? And having that conversation, what I've realized, bro, is the subconscious mind is so important. Because next time I think about a hockey player, next time I think about, something for a world record, he has a world record, by the way,
No big deal. Okay.
or how to do a fundraiser with a runner or this, that, and the other, like, I'm going to think of Louis. And then all of a sudden, like, I connect you guys, and now y'all are doing a fundraiser to, help the disease, like, because you're a good person. I'm constantly thinking of good people. I think that's the most important advice, man, is just keeping your circle tight. And a big quote I live by, bro, is if your circle doesn't inspire you, it's not a circle, it's a cage.
Damn.
And that's the mic drop for today's episode, guys. We at first Phorm. Louis, world record, professional hockey player, the fourth scope on skates. Unbelievable human being. Y'all go follow his journey. He's got a documentary coming out soon.
Yeah.
We'll be blasting that all over socials as well. Support him in any way you can. And if you feel like skating across America,
Hit me up.
talk to this guy.
Hit me up. We'll get it going.